Hello, so this is going to be a video all about potential sort of social problems, I guess, and sort of civil disobedience and other sort of potentially civil unrest type stuff that might come about because of coronavirus. This video isn't meant to scare anybody, I'm not doing it to be alarmist, we're just going to look at some of the things that could happen, hopefully they won't. But obviously, with a lot of countries facing lockdown and different quarantine measures, a lot of people are going to get bored, desperate, upset, whatever, things like that. Now, bizarrely in the UK, we have had massive amounts of crossbows, body armour and all that sort of stuff sell out. If you go on eBay at the moment and try and find old military body armour, old police body armour, police riot shields, all that sort of stuff, you're not going to find it, or it's in very limited stock compared to normal. This is stuff normally, if you go on eBay, you've got a massive selection of stuff at different price ranges and different conditions. You can always find this stuff, but now it's basically not available. Sports shops apparently have been selling out of bows and crossbows, that kind of thing, Maybe some people are just taking up archery in the garden, let's hope so, where they're bored and under quarantine, but you never know. So there's all that sort of stuff going on. And people in America have been telling me that lots of background checks for guns are just completely saturated at the moment because lots of people are thinking, I might better, buy a gun for my protection or family's protection in case of looting or rioting or, anything like that. So there's all that. So what sort of things could you see? Apparently, sadly, there's been a bit of domestic violence increasing, I think just because apparently a lot of people are stuck in their houses, you get a lot of couples that probably don't get on that well, or family members that don't get on that well. And then, obviously a lot of people at the moment in the UK, are just, including me, are buying a lot of alcohol, just because, I guess, boredom, really, if you're stuck at home. But sadly, that's not a good combination with some people drinking, and family, violence that way. And apparently that's what a lot of the things the police are being called out for at the moment is domestic violence, which is, a big shame, really. It's sad, but, and then, of course, you have people coughing at paramedics and police and whatever else, fire service, and you think, why? I can understand sometimes when people don't like cops, right? But I can never understand hatred towards, like, firemen, or fire service and, paramedics. It's like, their job is to protect you. I can understand with police, a lot of people consider them quite authoritarian or whatever. Personally, I just try and be as polite as I can to the police and hope I never have to really interact with them. You hope you never want to interact with them because you hope that you don't need them to help you with a crime. And you also don't really want to, be interrogated by a cop. But, I never, cough at a policeman regardless, but especially when people are directing coughing at paramedics and fire service and weirdly, in some part of the UK, absolutely disgusting behaviour. You saw that somebody had vandalised the ambulances, so they couldn't go out and actually help people. So there's that, obviously that's not good, is it? And then you're seeing in some places, I think in Italy, there's been looting started just because there are people who are desperate for food or goods, and by the time they get to the supermarket, it's not there, so you're seeing delivery trucks, like ravaged, or shops, the windows broken and people going in. So I think you could get a lot of civil unrest due to just boredom combined with, people who do get desperate. And if the police, like in several countries, are saying that, we're going to have to only respond to the most serious crimes, you could probably see a lot of petty crime go up. If people know that the police aren't going to respond to it or will be very slow to respond to it. If you're a criminal, you might say, there's a lot less likely chance I'll get caught now, I might as well go for it. So from that regard, I can understand gun sales going up and crossbow sales and body armour sales going up. You'd hope you wouldn't get serious problems like that, but you never know. And I know, like, a lot of people who are informed in the know about it say, look at what happened with Hurricane Katrina in the States, look at, the LA riots. Was the LA riots, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was the LA riots. But yeah, it's all that sort of stuff, where I think if you've got enough problems going on regarding an illness or supply shortages due to an illness, you can get, stuff spread from there. Because the thing is that a lot of people haven't regarded with coronavirus. There's one thing, which is the virus itself, and you do get some people that unfortunately seem to be a bit short-sighted to say, well, I'm not in a, danger group from this virus, so why should I worry about it more than the flu? The issue has a lot of knock-on effects. Now, a lot of us are seeing that now already with, being furloughed from work and told to stay at home, social distancing measures and all that, which is pretty unprecedented. Like, a lot of people would say that even during World War II, pubs stayed open, restaurants stayed open, all that sort of stuff, even during the Blitz, The danger was you could go to a pub and a German bomb might come through the roof and kill you, but, you were still allowed to go to the pub while they're all closed now. So there's a lot of very strange things going on at the moment, and it's going to be trying times, I think, for a lot of people. But sadly, I think a lot of people were very short-sighted in thinking, and not paying attention to anybody in the media or on YouTube or whatever was saying, if China's locking down huge cities, something quite big's happening, and then people say, "Oh, it'll never happen here," even though viruses spread very easily, if it's got a high R naught, it's going to spread. So, I mean, we honestly want to hope nothing happens. It's bad enough with all this virus stuff going on at the moment, but we need to hope it really doesn't start to unravel stuff further. There's going to be massive questions, of course, raised for debt and stuff like that. If countries are literally printing money to pay people to not go into work, that's going to cause massive inflation or economic damage in the future. So that's what a lot of the debates on LBC have been about today when I was watching it, or listening to LBC, I should say. I'm saying, are these measures worth it for the debt it would put on your children or grandchildren? Thankfully, I don't want kids, so that's not going to be a concern of mine, but it is a concern, isn't it, if, you think, how long are we going to be paying this stuff off if there are going to be debts of that kind of stuff? So, all in all, you do need to think about the bigger picture, and you do need to make yourself not an easy target. Now, I'm going to be very careful what I say on YouTube and just by putting it out there in the public, because I don't want to sound like I'm encouraging violence or bad behaviour. But, especially when it comes to the passive stuff like body armour, if you have body armour, you're not hurting anybody else by owning it, or a riot shield or anything like that. Again, as much as I like crossbows and all these other sort of tools myself, sports goods, tools, whatever you want to call them, a means of self-defence potentially, I can understand why some people get funnier about that, because again, it is something that, could be used to hurt or kill other people. Responsible people normally would never consider that with them, but something like body armour, it's never going to hurt anybody, because body armour is to protect the person wearing it. But again, you're seeing body armour sell out as well as potential weapons selling out. So maybe it's just people thinking, I wouldn't mind having this around, but it's something to keep an eye on. And let me know in the comments if you're in an area where there's stuff selling out. A thing to note before I end the video is when the London riots went on, was it 2011? Baseball bats went from being something like the 50th to 60th most sold sports item on UK Amazon to being the #1 selling item on UK Amazon. Lots of people don't play baseball or have any interest in baseball in the UK. So that gives you some idea, doesn't it, if suddenly baseball and cricket bats end up being your top selling items. Why might that be happening? Anyway, so that's this video. Let's hope nothing really bad comes of this, but you never know, do you? So, we'll just hope for the best again, but we're in very strange, unprecedented times, and, unfortunately, because I get so many comments now, it's hard to reply to a lot of them, but, do let me know in the comments, because sometimes I get a chance to read them. Even if I don't get a chance to reply to a lot of them, I can at least skim read a load of them at some point in the day. Let me know if you've come into a weird situation at the moment, or you're in a country where there's weird, unusual, like law breaking going on, or stuff that would never normally happen, because it's interesting, and I think the best thing to do is stay informed, stay prepared, and then hope stuff doesn't happen. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst, as we were saying to begin with months ago about potentially getting face masks before they all sold out everywhere, and they have sold out everywhere now. So that's another worrying thing just before I end the video, is apparently UK NHS staff, frontline doctors and emergency services are still not being provided with personal protective equipment. It really does make you think, doesn't it? Just how bad a situation it could get to if the people you need to have the protective gear are not being issued the protective gear. Anyway, let's hope for the best, and see you all later.